So the missing piece is that we can delete places, and for that, on user places, on a single place, so on such a place item actually, in the place item component, we got that delete button, and there at the moment we're just console logging deleting. Here instead I want to send a HTTP request now. So to do that, again, we import our custom hook. So the use HTTP client hook from shared hooks HTTP hook, of course. That's the hook we need. Now, just as before, we can initialize it here with object destructuring and get is loading, error, send request, and clear error, all the functionalities we used multiple times by now. And we want to send a request in the confirm delete handler now, because that is when we're sure that we want to delete. We can turn this into an async function, therefore, so that we can use async await in there and call send request and send this to a specific URL, which has a dynamic segment, which is why I'm adding backticks here, or why I'm using backticks. Because if we check the backend and our places routes, we see that the place ID needs to be part of the URL. So we need to send this to localhost 5000 /API /places /the ID of the place. So here it is HTTP localhost 5000 /API /places /the ID of the place. And we get that place ID here through props. In place list, I forward the ID prop here, which points at the place ID. So in place item.js, I can just use props.id here. This sends a request, but by default a GET request. So we should change this to delete to make sure it's a delete request. We don't need to add any body or extra headers though. We can then await this and of course also wrap it in try catch to ensure that we only continue if this really succeeded. So here in catch I won't do anything. If we succeed, the question is, what do I want to do? Well, in the end I want to reload the page we're on, right? Because in the end we are on the page where we display all places. Well, if we deleted a place, I just want to make sure that we update the current page. Now in the place list component, we in the end map our list of places into place items. And we get our items here from user places in the end. And in user places, we have our loaded places. So in the end, we need to tweak the loaded places once we delete a place. So in the place item component, once we're done deleting, I will call props on delete and expect that on delete, I get a function, which in the end, therefore, is executed through that prop. So in the place list component, we have to make sure that we set the on delete prop on a place item, which is where I call this, to a function, which I expect to get from outside. So here on place list, I will also call on delete place, let's say. So I will forward this to another function I expect to get on a on delete place prop directly on this place list component. So now we need to set on delete place as a prop on the place list here. On delete place, and now here in user places, which is the component I'm working in now, there I want to trigger a function. Place deleted handler maybe. And here I want to update my loaded places appropriately. So let's put place deleted handler into on delete place, and therefore in the end we forward it to on delete in the place item. And in user places, in the place delete handler, I then want to call set loaded places and update my loaded places. And I want to update them such that I filter out the place which was just deleted. For that, we can use the function form of setting a state here. So we got our previous places, and I want to return the new places. And the new places are based on the previous places, but there, this is an array. I want to call the filter method to filter out a certain place. So I will go through all my places here and only keep the places where the ID is not equal to, let's say, the deleted place ID, which I expect to get as an argument here. So I expect to get this parameter here, deleted place ID, and only if the place I'm looking at in my existing array of places is not equal, I'll keep it. Because if it is equal, it's the place I want to delete. So in the new array, which I return here, it should not be included. So that I set my loaded places state to a new array where the deleted place is filtered out. Now we just have to make sure that we pass this deleted place ID to this function. And in the end, we are calling this function in placeItem.js here. So here we should forward props ID because that's the ID of the place which was deleted. This is the trick, hopefully. This should do the trick. Now let's still handle the loading and the error state here. And therefore, we import the error modal from shared components, UI elements, error modal, and of course import our loading spinner here from shared components, UI elements, loading spinner. And with that, if we go down there, in React fragment, we can add our error modal here. And there forward our error we might be getting and point on clear at clear error. Side note, also make sure that in confirm delete handler, you call set show confirm modal false first so that you close the confirm modal before you send that request and maybe also open up an error modal thereafter so that we don't have multiple modals open at the same time. And to also show loading state, I'll scroll down and here inside of my card, so on top of this place which I want to delete, I will check for is loading and then send or render my loading spinner in that overlay mode if we are loading. With that, if we save this, here are the places. Let's now log in like that. And now here, if I click delete, I can cancel, of course. But if I click delete here, you see the loading spinner and we're done. Now this here looks good to me. It seems to work. If I reload, let's see if it still is gone. It is. And if we check the database now and we refresh the places, we should only see one place. Yes, we do. And for users, if we check that, we should also see that the first user only has one connected place, so that this connection to the place was also cleared there, and the other users have no places. And this is looking good to me. It looks like our application is working, and we successfully connected frontend and backend.